You know, Steve, Ibadan holds a very special place in the history of democracy in Nigeria. I was very proud to return home there because I went to high school in Ibadan, just 2 or 3 miles from where that summit took place. And I remember very, very clearly the 1960s when I lived there. I remember the fact that, as your state governor said, Ibadan was a place where the fight for democracy saw its head. Operation Wait Here and all of that was that fight to ensure that democracy held in Nigeria's early days. But more importantly, Ibadan was where the whole movement for self-government had its root. So it was an appropriate place to have that declaration about a commitment of opposition politicians to rescue Nigeria in the face of what seems to be creeping fascism, pressure to go into a one-party state, and all the shenanigans that have tried to disrupt multi-party democracy in Nigeria, with party activities being disrupted, the courts being used to abuse democratic processes and all of that. So it was very significant. It was symbolic to show that there are people who are willing to, play down their egos, their ambitions, so that Nigeria may prevail, which is something that is so important to happen. Some of us who not only came out of Ibadan of the 60s and saw the Agbekoya riots and all of that, but who were in the front line, if you may, of the fight for democracy in Nigeria after the June 12 elections were aborted, are scandalized that our democracy is in a worse shape now than it has ever been, and are proud to be associated with others to say we must restore democracy in Nigeria now. So that statement was a statement about the importance of democracy in Nigeria. That's the most important statement that was made in Ibadan. So Nigerians are committed to a democratic process. We don't want to install kings. We don't need KBACs. We want a people concerned about the people. And we want governments that are driven by the ordinary person's burden, more than playing up to foreign interests and all of that. And so the Ibadan Declaration was a call for national liberation, sadly, again. And I was very proud to be there. As you probably know, I gave the keynote on the economy. We hear things that are being said about how this way all of us wanted removal of subsidy. Of course, we wanted removal of what was called subsidy. 70% of what was called subsidy was corruption, pure corruption. If you came in and you took care of removing that 70% corruption, the other 30%, there are ways you will manage it, and the dignity of the human person will go into how we begin to rebuild, expand the economy, and growth. I told a story in Ibadan of filling up my tank on the express just as we were about to leave Lagos. And I realized that, and I was reading some report, the Piggy Save report on savings in Nigeria, saying the average Nigerian, 58% of us, earn 100,000 naira a month or less. And it took nearly 2.5 that upper limit to fill my tank. And I thought to myself, this is the most uneven kind of economy that there is. How can we live in a society that cares so little for the weak, for the small man? And I went to Ibadan determined, saying to people there, we must return government to the people. We must have a people-centered government that cares about the people, that does not look away and buy fancy cars and private jets and presidential jets when the people are dying, because that's what's happening. The Nigerian people are being crushed by policies that we know don't work. I mean, Steve, I'm sure you remember, I was one of the frontline people explaining structural adjustment program. I used things like the J-curve to tell the story they're telling today again about how you see the benefits down the line. And I saw it destroy the very basis of development, our educational system, our healthcare system. And I say, how can this happen twice in my lifetime? I took time off when I saw that those Washington consensus policies were not working, to go to Asia, spend time in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and those places. What did we do wrong in Nigeria? It was clear to me that we had not gotten certain things right about policy. To come now and see people repeating that and telling me the same story of have hope just completely shows that we are not governing for the people. We are governing for their interests. State capture is taking over. And the people who are politicians, if they really are truly politicians, must unite in this kind of circumstance to say, enough is enough. We want a new way. We want a new path. We want a Nigeria that works for everybody. And the starting point is inclusion. You've got to bring people together. We have done too much to divide the Nigerian people. We must begin by bringing Nigerian people together. And if opposition leaders start with the example of they themselves coming together, pretty good way.